Hello viewers, welcome to True Crime Diaries. The Phantom of Heilbronn, often alternatively referred to as the woman without a face, was a hypothesized unknown female serial killer. The murderer, dubbed the Phantom of Heilbronn, had been baffling German investigators for 2 years. The criminal was a rarity, a female serial killer, and a very busy one. Police had linked DNA evidence from 40 crimes, including the infamous homicide of a policewoman in the southern German town of Heilbronn, to the same woman. It all started in 2007, with the murder of a 22-year-old policewoman named Michelle Kieswetter in Heilbronn. Michelle Kieswetter was in her patrol car having lunch with her colleague when 2 people climbed into the back seat of the vehicle and shot both officers in the back, killing her and injuring her partner. The cops took DNA on cotton swabs and sent it out to be analyzed, as you'd expect from modern cops. This is when things took an unexpected turn. The findings were linked to a slew of cold cases, including a murder from 1993. Cops linked this woman, an Eastern European woman, as DNA evidence suggested, to 6 other murders. This mysterious woman, this serial killer, this cop killer, was also linked to a number of robberies, including a car dealership and a school break-in. In 1993, a 62-year-old woman was discovered dead in her home in Idar Oberstein, strangled by wire taken from a flower bouquet discovered near her body. Nobody knew anything about what happened to Lieselot Schlenger. There were no witnesses, suspects, or signs of suspicious activity, except that she had been strangled to death with a piece of wire, of course. However, the police discovered DNA on a bright teacup near Schlenger, which was the only clue found. Because the only lead was the DNA of an unknown woman, and there was no match, the case went cold. Yet, on March 21, 2001, a 61-year-old man was discovered dead in his kitchen in Freiburg, Germany. The victim had been strangled yet again, and this time the woman's DNA was discovered in a kitchen drawer. Similar methods of murder and an exact match for DNA led police to believe they had discovered a serial killer. Then, after an 8-year hiatus, her DNA began to appear everywhere. Her DNA was found on a discarded heroin syringe 5 months after the second murder scene, after a 7-year-old stepped on it in a playground in Gerolstein. It appeared a few weeks later on an abandoned cookie in a burgled caravan near Bad Kreuznach, as if she'd purposefully spat out a jammy Dodger as a calling card. It was discovered in a break-in at a Dietzenbach office, in an abandoned stolen car in Heilbronn, and on 2 beer bottles and a glass of wine in a burgled bar in Karlsruhe, as if she'd robbed the place but lingered for a few cheeky pints. On May 6, 2005, in a particularly bizarre case, a man shot his own brother with a 7.65 caliber pistol. Then again, who doesn't? During her apparent crime spree, her DNA was sprayed across an impressive 40 crime scenes in Austria, southern Germany, and France, including robberies, armed robberies, and murders. The strangest part was that at these crime scenes, police discovered the DNA of others, presumed to be her accomplices, but it was never the same person twice, and no one would talk. The Phantom of Heilbronn, also known as the woman without a face, was a hypothesized unknown female serial killer whose existence was inferred from DNA evidence found at numerous crime scenes in Austria, France, and Germany between 1993 and 2009. Anyone who saw her described her as looking like a man. Police have offered a €300,000 reward for information leading to her location. Not an easy task when there was so little information, and some witnesses described the suspect as a woman while others described him as a man. The case was finally closed in 2009 with an embarrassing realization: the most notorious serial killer in German history, thought to be responsible for 6 murders, did not exist. They repeated the test with a different cotton swab and found no DNA from the Phantom. So, they went back to the source, the factory that produced the cotton swabs themselves, Grainer Bio 1 International AG. And that's when they realized what was going on. There was a reason why the Phantom of Heilbronn was so elusive, why no one had ever seen her, why she never appeared on security camera footage. She was a serial killer. She never existed. What actually happened? All of the cotton swabs used in these crimes were manufactured in a single factory, and while they were sterile, they were never intended for human DNA collection. The cotton swabs were sterilized, used to kill bacteria, fungi, and viruses, but they were still contaminated with human cells in the form of skin particles, sweat, saliva, or other bodily secretions. It turned out that the factory employed mostly women, Eastern European women, to be exact, who all fit the DNA type assumed to fit the Phantom. It was discovered that all of the swabs had been contaminated prior to shipment. After thousands of hours of police work were wasted and 40 criminal investigations were reopened, the German police were able to take solace in the fact that there was, in fact, no female serial killer. For 16 years, the police had been tracking a serial killer and offering massive financial rewards, only to discover that they'd been tracing their own contaminated swabs, like Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. It begs the question, how can the world's forensic science community prevent this from happening again? A new ISO standard published earlier this year that aims to reduce the risk of DNA contamination provides part of the answer. ISO 18385 will be used by police departments, forensic science laboratories, and forensic DNA manufacturers. It is expected to reduce the risk of contamination of consumables used in the recovery and processing of DNA samples, increasing public trust in forensic DNA analysis. What do you think about the Phantom of Heilbronn case? I really appreciate your feedback. Thanks for watching.